Hi, I'm Jay Thompson, and I'm a film host over at FILMFave.com. And tonight I am interviewing Kortnea. She is a writer, director, and filmmaker who has also amassed accolades in the special effects makeup department. Kortnea, thank you so much for joining us tonight for this interview. I understand you're super busy, so I appreciate the fact that you're taking the time to do this. So if we could, let me just get right into it and ask you a few questions. Yeah?
Okay. Yes.
Okay, so first question is, how did this start for you?
I've liked horror movies basically all my life because my grandma really likes horror movies. When I was in high school and my first few years of college, I worked on a few local films, but I got my degree in writing. So I went on to grad school and got another degree in writing and education. And there I started writing a lot more horror, especially body horror, and was getting a lot of good feedback. And I felt like I was getting a better handle on writing. So after I got that degree, I went to film school, and I've just been doing stuff since film school.
Who would be your biggest influences for you for when you started?
Yeah, I love Cronenberg. When I was younger and really into horror and really getting inundated, I was very into kind of anything that was happening in the French extremity. I watch a lot of Japanese horror movies, so stuff like Hausu and Tokyo Gore Police, and probably every Stephen King movie because I had to watch them so many times as a kid.
What are you working on that you could talk about right now, and what have you recently released and finished?
Recently, I just finished working on my latest short, the bug chasing short, and that's been entered into festivals, so we'll see back. If not, I'll be updating on my Instagram and stuff where you can see that if it doesn't go out or if it does go out. I'm also working on my first feature this summer. I was supposed to make my first feature last summer, but then COVID happened. So I'm doing my first feature this year. It'll be in June in Pittsburgh, and it is called The Order of the White Worm. A few years back, it's called Flickr. I believe if you look up Tom Savini's Flickr, it should come up easier.
Oh, no kidding. Okay, you worked with him?
Yes, yeah.
That's cool. I dig it. He's
and
pretty
Tina
cool.
Romero, George's daughter.
What was it like working with Tina Romero?
She was great. Tina is really kind, and she was friends with everybody. She's really great.
And not to fanboy over your moments with Tom Savini, but as a special effects artist, I kind of worship the ground he walks on. Could you share any great or cool stories about working with him?
Yeah, when we worked on the Flickr series, it was for so the George Romero school is basically attached to the Tom Savini school. So we worked together on stuff at the end of our times there. And Tom only was on actual set one day. And I think a lot of people thought he was going to be really shitty because of his reputation and stuff. He wouldn't want to deal with us because we were students. But Tom was probably one of the nicest people I've ever worked with on set. And he would go out of his way to talk to us. And I don't know, it was just kind of funny because he's just a stereotypical kind of older guy. He kept wondering when we were going to have lunch and talking about how bad he wanted Red Robin and stuff. So Tom.
We're doing the women in horror film movement aspect for FILMFave. We're not just trying to focus on women in horror as a way to expose people to this sort of genre, because let's face it, women don't get recognized enough in the horror community because there's such a low percentage of female directors and producers. And while it is rising, it's still not equitable to everything that's out there now in the industry. Mm-hmm. So then my question to you is that, being as you are now officially known as a woman in horror, and you're established in the industry, what advice would you give to other women who want to come on board and be a part of this?
I think the biggest advice I can give is to just get involved in like filmmaking communities around you. If there isn't a filmmaking community, um, you might as well make one, because honestly, going through film school, certain aspects, yes, it's a lot easier to learn in that kind of environment, but you can make just like guerrilla style movies. I went to the George Romero school, and that's what George did. Um, it's so much easier to just pick something up and learn from your mistakes than it is to, spend a lot of money and go somewhere. So just getting involved, making connections, that's the best way to do it.
Great. Also, secondary to that question, if you could be the person you needed 10 years ago, what would be your advice to your younger self?
I would probably tell myself to just go for things. I didn't shoot very much because I just like didn't have a lot of reliable people, because a lot of people aren't going to show up to act and stuff if you're not paying them, which makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But just to try things, experiment, you can end up doing something really cool that you never would have thought of because you did it on accident.
Who is on your radar for women in horror right now? What are some names of people that have attracted your attention and you're looking forward to seeing them as they contribute to the scene and the industry? Who are you looking forward to seeing like succeed or move forward in their careers?
I love Andrea Subasati and Alex West from the podcast Faculty of Horror so much. I listen to basically everything they say. I'm always listening to what's going on through them. So anything they have to say, I think they're introducing people to a lot of really good stuff. And as for like actual just filmmakers, I have a friend, her name is K11. She just released her first feature, and she's just amazing. And I think she's going to go a lot of places. She's on the Soska sisters radar. So she's definitely a person to look out for.
What is your most memorable moment in film?
I think as a filmmaker, it was obviously great, like working with Tom Savini and stuff. I have a lot of memories of just lots of blood, making like fake heads and squirting blood all over the place, and just any memory on set kind of, I feel like, blurs together. But definitely working with Tom and Tina was a really big one. And then as a horror viewer, I'd probably have to say the first time I ever watched Stephen King's Pet Sematary, because it kind of like scarred me for the rest of my life. Zelda still terrifies me. So that was like one of my huge memories.
Let me ask you, what is going to happen in your future? What are you looking forward to? What are you releasing, and what are you setting out to accomplish?
So right now I'm working on my first feature, and I got that funded. We funded all the special effects through Indiegogo, and it's completely mine. Like, I wrote it, I'm directing it, I cast it, everything like that. Just going to places around Pittsburgh. It is about a woman who has a bad eating disorder. She wants to lose weight really, really quickly, and she can't. She ends up getting a pill from somebody, and it makes her lose weight really quickly, but that's because she's basically about to give birth to this giant tapeworm that's eating all of her nutrients. Wow. And it's very, very woman focused. I actually, like, almost all of the cast is female. There's only like 3 or 4 men in the entire movie, and I'm working on getting everybody in the background to be women, because most of the time the background is full of men, and I can't remember the statistic, but it's like an extremely low percentage of people in the background are ever women. So I just want to create this world that's like completely dominated by women.
Good deal. I love the fact that not only are you kind of like, you're celebrating women in horror, not just through word, but through actual action, in which you're including more women into your projects and focusing on them. I think that's great. Is there anything we have not covered yet that you would like to discuss?
Well, I was featured in the 2017 Best Body Horror Anthology because I went to school for writing as well. But I don't know if you can buy it anymore because I think that the company went defunct.
Rest in peace. You said you're also had stuff in Rue Morgue, right?
Yeah, my first short, actually my thesis for film school was featured in Rue Morgue for their Women in Horror month special last year.
Thank you so much, Kortnea, for joining us. Once again, I do appreciate your time entertaining us during this interview. We did learn a few things, and hopefully this also inspires other people to go ahead and push forward with their craft and take chances and get into filmmaking. So we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. If you got a final thing you want to say to our audience, please be my guest.
I don't think I have anything else to say. I'm sorry.
No, that's good. That's good.
I was trying to think.
Yeah, that'll go in the blooper reel. I know you're a huge contributor of the scene and the industry, and we value your time and your input. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no problem. And let me just ask you this real quick for the website and the blog. We like to ask our guests, what is your film fave?
I think it has to be John Carpenter's The Thing.
Yay, that's great. It is one of my favorites too. All right, well, thank you guys so much for tuning in for this interview. It was a pleasure and a blast. And if horror is your favorite sort of film, then please make horror your film fave. Thank you. That's it. We're signing off. Goodbye. You can edit that out too, right? Just be like,
Yeah.
you made it about you. Get out. Like.